Well, hello, Pamela Hernandez with the Better Business Bureau. How are you today?
I'm great, Ashley Reynolds. How are you today?
Great. The past few times I said like one and only, blah, blah, blah. So I'm taking it down a notch today. So I hope you're okay with that.
I am totally fine. It's not about me. Totally fine.
I'm passionate, energetic person, but there's a fine line between that and being annoying. So we're trying to right.
Never annoying. You're never annoying.
Okay, so on the rundown today, we're going to talk about employment scams and then booking sites and customer service scams, looking ahead for summer vacations, things like that. And then also the utility scams always creep up this time of year. So let's go ahead and dive in with employment scams. We've been talking about this for years, but what's new with it?
So what's new with it are a couple of things. One, we have just seen an explosion of employment scams reported in BBB Scam Tracker. They have doubled since 2025 reports, and over half of them originate with a text message. And that leads into the type of employment scam and how it's changed. And I'm willing to bet that you've seen this employment scam, that you've gotten the text message, because I know I have. And I feel like just about everyone I've talked to, whether it's in a high school or out at a community group or a business luncheon, it's a text message that looks like it's from a recruiter for a marketing company, or maybe from a platform like YouTube, offering some sort of work from home, high pay, few hours a week, doing some basic tasks like watching videos or subscribing to channels or doing reviews. And for whatever reason, these have exploded and more people seem to be getting involved. They're taking the bait and going for these too good to be true jobs.
Well, it just seems so easy. You're telling me all I have to do is share a video and review something. I mean, it's what do they call it? A video booster is the job title. I mean, that's crazy and it sounds easy.
That is one of the many job titles. And it sounds very easy and it sounds somewhat plausible. For example, there are people who, at least in the past, I think the work is slowing down a little bit, but have gotten paid to help train AI models and watch videos and do different things. So it sounds feasible and it seems like, okay, this is easy to get started. They get you into some sort of training group. You're assigned to a trainer. They get you into a group on WhatsApp or Telegram. And it starts with very basic tasks for a little bit of money. And in some cases, they even pay you out that money, right? So you're getting paid. It's not a lot. But as time goes on, the tasks go up in value. And then when you ask for your money, you're asked to give money to unlock your account, or to get to tasks that have a higher value, you have to pay in money. And that's where things obviously start to go very wrong. You should never have to pay your own money for a job. You should never have to pay to get money you have earned.
Yeah, I was reading the report, and what struck me about this was that legitimate real payment. There was a customer in Minnesota that they totally fell for it, and it seemed plausible because they did receive a little money up front and it was real money.
It was real money and it seems very plausible. A lot of these scams create their own platforms. So there's almost a gamification type of element to it as well. And it's so easy to create your own app or your own website for these types of tasks. And the scammers got plenty of reason to go ahead and give you a few dollars if they think they're going to get more. And they are getting more, thousands of dollars more in some cases, because it does start to feel like this is work. There's a game element. So unfortunately, that's tapping into our emotions, that little dopamine receptor we get when we're playing some sort of game, maybe similar to gambling, right? So it's so easy to get pulled into these types of things and feel that you already have something invested. You're looking at a pot of money that you've earned in the thousands of dollars, and you feel like you put all this time and energy in there. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our own money in. I know in some cases, the trainer for the group has told the person involved, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to put some of my money in as well. So not only do you feel like you've invested all this time and energy and you've got this money out there, but you've also got a trainer coaxing you on who of course is just part of the scam. There's no actual money involved by anybody else trying to get you to make that investment to get your big payout.
Ugh. Something else that stuck out, I hope I'm understanding this right, 50,000 reports to the BBB scam tracker on this. Like that's insane. Now, not specifically this YouTube mimicking scam you're talking about, but just overall job scams. That seems like a really high number to me.
But it is, and that's the thing. They have gone up. I mean, we've been talking about job scams since I started at the BBC.
Right.
This is a perpetual topic,
Yeah.
but the way that they have changed, seeming more plausible, using names of companies that we might recognize, like YouTube, using AI tools to create platforms and different types of tasks that seem real. If you're given a website to go out and do reviews on and everything looks legitimate on the website, why wouldn't you think you're doing a normal job? Why wouldn't you think this is something that you could do? Especially if it starts out as a very small value, just a few dollars, it starts to feel very real. That's when they lure you in to those higher payment tasks and then started asking you for money to get to that money.
Jeez. And just to put a bow on it, essentially, so 50,000 reports, but yet later in this BBB article, it cites the FTC as believing only 4% of people actually report it. So, oh my
It's
goodness.
that we know it's only a fraction what we see, right?
Right.
It is only a fraction. We've seen a few of these come through Scam Tracker over the last few months that are these specific task-based scams. But every time I go do a presentation and I talk about employment scams, everyone will raise their hand. Oh, I've got that text message, or I know someone that got involved in that. I know that those people aren't making those reports. I don't see them. So we know because of embarrassment, we know because of people just don't know to report it, we're not seeing the full picture.
Yeah. I don't know, do you have any insight on, because it seems like just a few years ago during COVID, we were covering all these work from home scams. And the deal was they would send you a bogus check and they said, here's part of your payment, and then use some of this to go buy your home office equipment. And of course, they want you to send some of the money to your vendor to get the home office equipment. And they want you to do all this before you realize it's a bad check and they're actually the vendor, they're part of the scam. It does seem to me, I don't know, maybe it's because scams run in cycles. I feel like people catch on to that it's a scam. Perhaps they catch on earlier, whereas this one takes some crafting and time because you are getting some real money up front at first.
It is the long game versus the short game.
Yes. Yeah.
We would see that before. It was a very quick hit. Here's the check, send the money, boom, boom, boom. This is a very slow burn, and it can really lure you in. Now, it may not feel that way to the person that's involved, but over a matter of weeks, sometimes these things can unfold. And I think going back to just the environment too, you have more people looking for extra income. You have more people who want to be able to have some flexibility, whether that's around a full-time job they already have or a school schedule or some other reason they need that flexibility. And it just sort of checks all those boxes. And it also removes sort of the middleman. So like when we think about things with checks, it would be easy to go to your bank and get a second opinion, right? There's no one there. You are dealing directly with the financial platform because it is something that they have created to start building up these earnings for you to cash in. So there's no bank, there's no bank account. You're working with their platform. It's only when you try to ask to get the money out of the platform that we start running into that problem.
Yes. I know you mentioned payment earlier in the amount, and while it appears to be easy money, I thought the amount didn't seem crazy, which made it realistic. Like I saw something like $600 a week. Whereas in some of these work from home scams, it was $5,000 a week. I mean, 600 seems reasonable and realistic.
Again, it depends on the person,
Sure.
right? For sure.
Right.
And they'll throw out ranges, they'll throw out maybe you get paid daily. That can happen too with some of these, as opposed to giving you a big number. It's the promise of being able to get paid at the end of the day, which can be really helpful for some folks. So it's a lot of different things that we're seeing, and the ranges for how much the pay is weekly and monthly really vary. It's kind of funny. I was talking about these employment scams at a school, and the students, the high school students, they've got these text messages, and they were kind of giving each other a hard time because one person was getting an offer for, at 500 a week, and somebody's like, well, I got 1,500 a week. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with you? Mine was 1,000 or 3,000 a week. So it was actually kind of funny, these variations. And they knew, they were very smart. They knew that it was a scam. None of them, at least that they didn't tell me about, had gotten involved in it. So it's kind of interesting how these things get thrown out in different variations to try to get people to bite.
Right, right. All right, so bring it home for us. What's a consumer to do?
Well, if it sounds too good true, it probably is. If someone reaches out to you about a job that you never applied for, particularly via text message, that's your first big red flag. And then you should never have to pay to get money. You should never, or money that you've already earned, you should never have to pay to unlock employment opportunities. So just if you ever see anything that asks you about reviewing anything, watching anything, subscribing to anything, just back away and avoid those altogether.
And something about the term unlocking to get paid just seems illegal to me. Like it doesn't, I don't know. It seems like a big trick.
It feels a little like gambling. It feels like there's something, wait a second, this is not how a job should work. And that's exactly the thing we need to keep in mind. This is not how a job works.
Yes. And, go to the source, right? Go to the business website and see if there's an actual job listing that matches that description in the text.
Absolutely. And some of these marketing companies, the scammers are getting smart because they're impersonating companies that may have once existed and they're now out of business. So you have to dig a little bit deeper. So do your research. Certainly going to BBB Scam Tracker is a great place because they tend to use a lot of the same company names and verbiage. So if you just put that into Scam Tracker, I am willing to bet you're going to see something pop up the same or similar.
I see. All right. Shall we move on to the booking scam and
Yes.
customer service?
Summer
Okay.
travel season, especially with airlines and customer service and third-party bookings, something people really need to be cautious with as airline prices go up. And it feels like, I don't know about you, but I've already had multiple flights rearranged this summer for travel. Just being really careful as you're out there looking for a good flight or some customer service help. It's really important.
So how do you know if you're talking to the real McCoy?
Here's the thing. First of all, let's start with the booking a flight. Just really be careful going out to a search engine and typing in something generic like best prices on flights to Florida. That, unfortunately, scammers know how to create sponsored links to fake sites, just like any legitimate marketer knows how to use a sponsored post. So go to platforms that you know and trust and go directly to that site. So, just kind of throw out a couple. I think a lot of people have heard of Expedia. No secret there that they're a third-party booking site. Make sure that you type the URL in carefully. And if you do go through a search engine, make sure you got where you intended to go. Scammers like to create also things that look like a travel website that we know and trust. So just really be careful with those vague searches. And the same goes for customer service. So if you've booked a flight, whether that's directly with the airline or with a third-party site, make sure you save the app, the legitimate contact from your confirmation email. Have it handy in case something goes wrong. Because where folks tend to get into trouble is the flight gets canceled, the flight gets delayed, and they need to talk to customer service. They don't have it saved, so they start searching. And scammers know how to plant those fake customer service phone numbers. And we have had reports from consumers who thought they got to customer service for the airline or the third-party booking site, when really it was a scammer talking to them, charging them extra to rebook, charging them extra for any number of things, only to find out later that they were talking to a scammer.
I saw it in one customer report. They knew their stuff. They knew that they had a 24-hour window to cancel for free. They had that 24-hour opportunity, and they were talking to customer service on the other end, and they were trying to attach a fee on it. And that's how they knew they were talking to a scammer, because they knew what they signed up for. So always read the fine print and understand what you signed.
Oh, always know the details for any cancellations, refunds, travel credits. Be an educated consumer. That can really help you on the ground too. Not if you're trying to call customer service, but you get back in line. Let's say you had that flight that was canceled. It's important for you to know your rights and what you're entitled to. So whether you're trying to avoid a scam or just making sure you get what you're entitled to, understand all the key points about the details for your vacation, your flight.
And if you take your frustrations to Facebook, I had a friend do this. Flight was canceled, delay, the whole thing. She's traveling with two young kiddos. And so she blasted on Facebook. She was not too happy with an airline. And then all these scammers started that imposter thing where they're posing as the airline. Oh, we're here to help you. Tell me your ticket number and your credit card information and we'll make it right. But they'll mimic the logos, they'll steal them. I mean, they really try to impersonate the legit airline.
And just kind of airing out my frustrations, as many people do on social media.
My old college buddy, Erica Thomas, was trying to get home after vacationing in Mexico with her family.
Multiple delays that led to us sitting on the tarmac for 4 hours for what was supposed to be an hour-long flight. And unfortunately, that hour-long flight turned into a 24-hour ordeal where we ended up driving 15 hours in the car to make it home the next day.
She shared what happened with her Facebook followers and tagged the airline and airport. And then suddenly, to her surprise, her inbox flooded with apologies from customer support.
A lot of them had the name customer service in the account name, or they had the American logo. So they were definitely working to try to represent as if they were from the company.
But none of them were, and they asked for her full name, address, phone number, and flight details, information they should already have.
So if they ask you for passwords, financial information, bank account information, also a big red flag that you're probably not dealing with legitimate customer service.
It's very easy that someone who maybe is not so tech savvy potentially give them some of their private information.
If you post a complaint and start getting these messages, inspect the account. Does it appear to be new with few photos and posts? That's a red flag.
Social media accounts that belong to big companies have been around for a long time, and they typically have a lot of followers. So that can help you vet whether that account is legitimate or not.
If you would have responded to one of these scammers, man, your experience just would have been worse.
Absolutely. And that was the part that really kind of was like a big red flag for me when I started getting them. I mean, it was interesting because they all kind of came at once. I mean, I would have to go back and look at the timestamps, but it felt like they came like within an hour of each other, that they just kind of bam, 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 bam.
If you have a complaint, reach out to the company directly. Erica had success with direct messages on X.
Many companies on their website and their app now have chat features. So you can usually get some sort of contact resolution fairly quickly.
Take a breath, pause, get back into the logical side of my brain and make sure that the person that says they're reaching out to me is indeed the company or the entity that is on the other end of the line.
Oh, absolutely. And it's because there was a time when you could get customer service very easily that way. I mean, I've experienced myself back in the day when a problem happened.
Right.
And you could get legitimate help because companies did have somebody monitoring, and scammers can do that too. And so they want to jump in. That's what scammers love to do. Scammers love to jump into the middle of a situation where there's chaos, confusion, changes. If they can get in the middle and insert themselves before you have time to really think about it, that's where they have a lot of success. So having everything, being prepared, if you travel, let's just say if you use the same airline all the time, making sure you follow their legitimate social media channels so you know what those legitimate channels are, and having that customer service number, having the app. I'm going to say most companies these days have some sort of chat function in their app or their website. So if you're in the app and you really want to try to get to something quickly, you might even consider using that chat.
Yes, yes. I want to say my friend had success when she DM'd the airline directly. So, but Well, shall we move on to the utility scam? I mean, it is so nasty hot outside, and it seems like this scam comes around whenever it's really hot or really cold. So I think it just boils down to folks get a phone call or a text saying that they haven't paid their utility bill, and by golly, they have a deadline of like a day to pay up. So what say you?
Well, I've heard an hour. So
Oh, okay.
a day is generous for scammers.
day is
It's an
generous.
hour is what
Right.
I've always heard reports to Scam Tracker. And it goes back to that inserting themselves when there's a problem or when there's an extreme situation. So like you said, when we have really cold temperatures, when we have really hot temperatures, when people can absolutely not be without their utilities, that's when scammers like to try to send out those phishing texts or phishing phone calls, both to individuals and businesses. I've talked to a couple businesses that had this happen during our big cold snap back in February.
You have no phones, no lights, no computers, no compressors for us, no lifts. With no power, we are dead in the water.
Breaking down cars takes a lot more than just elbow grease.
CU gets paid every month like clockwork.
Which is why Dan Walter was surprised to get a call from someone claiming to be with Empire Electric.
I'm on City Utilities. How did Empire end up with our check? And he said, well, it was a bank mix-up. He was very good on the phone. Very professional, very smooth, very high pressure.
Pay now or lights out.
$498.75.
And your utility bill is?
Right around $500, so he was real close.
All he had to do was make a quick errand.
I needed to, within 20 minutes, get to the Hy-Vee store, purchase a reloaded card, and give him the number on the back of that card, and he would call the dogs off to not shut our utilities off. I told him, I'm going to call City Utilities and I'll straighten this out. And then he says, well, City Utilities will put you on hold for 30 or 45 minutes. You won't have power by the time you get off of being on hold.
It doesn't work that way. It never has and never will.
It's typically a 2-month warning process for power termination. No surprises, no 20-minute deadlines.
Call us, 863-9000. Yes, you may actually have to wait just a little bit to talk to an operator, but we want to make sure that we give you the right information, let you know exactly what's going on, because there's a really, really good chance, if not 100% chance, that has nothing to do with us. We just don't operate in that manner.
Walter hung up on the swindler, then made a Good Samaritan call.
We called Hy-Vee and warned them, and there was a woman down there that was getting a $500 card as the manager was taking our phone call, and he stopped it.
And of course, they cannot be without their utilities. They're busy. The scammer was very smart, called right as they were getting ready for like the dinner rush at a restaurant. And you just want to get it taken care of, right? You just know the utilities can't go out, but please always take a moment, verify, take a breath. Did you pay your utilities? If you know you paid your utilities, then just take a breath, contact the utility company directly before you do anything, and know that they're never going to just give you an hour at first notice or at second notice, probably not even third notice. You're going to have some time. Right. So if you even think for a moment you didn't pay your utility bill, true story, my utility bill is set up on auto pay. New credit card, didn't get it connected, got a thing that said, hey, your payment, you're past due. It's like, what? Called, took care of it. At no point was anybody threatening to cut off the utilities. So just kind of keeping that in mind. Scammers are just trying to get you to act without thinking. So take a moment, verify. Don't call the number in the text message. Don't click on that link. Find your bill. Find the last one you had. I've got the customer service saved in my phone, so I know what it is just in case. It's helpful for an outage too. You know, you want to have that just in case. But just go to that legitimate source if you think for just a moment you could have missed something, because it can happen.
And I mean, scammers will get your attention because they'll use caller ID spoofing. So it looks like, you know, City Utilities is calling you or City of Nixa. It can appear that way. Mm-hmm. And I've interviewed a restaurant owner about this specific scam, and she said the scammer told them they gave the right name of the supervisor at the City of Nixa. I mean, all it took was a simple Google search to figure out who that is. But scammers will do a little homework before they bug you.
Oh, absolutely. They all that information is public. very quick, very easy to do, to create that and then blast it out to as many people as possible. It's all just phishing. It's all just trying to get someone to bite. So it doesn't take long to create that one message, that one script, and then get to as many people as possible. So don't be fooled. Even if it sounds plausible, even if they start throwing out the names of your utility company and the person in charge, still take time and verify.
Yes. Hey, always a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Always a good time.
All right, we'll see you later.
Thanks.